this process may take years, right? So the thing that you want to ask yourself is, well, if I'm going to take years developing things, what am I going to be developing myself to be? So when I pop myself out 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, I'm not worried about what I have, like the stuff that I have, but I've built the person who I am. This episode is sponsored by Marine D3. If you want 24-hour antioxidant protection while giving your brain, eyes, heart, and overall energy a jolt of long-lasting nourishment, then Marine D3 is for you. This is my number one top-selling health product that I've sold over 500,000 bottles, and right now, 80% of our sales come from repeat customers. Marine D3 can flood your cells with an abundance of new antioxidants and nutrients that fights and repairs damage done to the cells during exercise, everyday living, and the natural breakdown that occurs as we age. After 15 years of research and over $39 million spent on clinical studies, a renowned biochemist has found one of the world's greatest antioxidants. It's called CNLP, hiding deep below the ocean surface. I took CNLP, combined it with a little-known omega-3 called calamine, as well as vitamin D3, so that you can get maximum benefit all in one supplement. I'd like to give you the first bottle absolutely free. I just ask that you pay shipping and handling. At edokeefeshow.com/free bottle, I'll have a mini presentation that will share more about the supplement and why people are raving about it. Most importantly, it'll show you exactly how you can get it shipped out to you today, just for shipping and handling. This episode is brought to you by Dormant Forces Insider. If you would like monthly big business breakthroughs, insider marketing strategies that actually work, and mindset secrets of multimillionaires sent directly to your door so you can have them in your hands and you can apply them, then this is for you. Now, you can test drive my Dormant Forces Insider Silver membership for just 1 month free. If you love it, we know you'll stay with it and let it keep you in the loop of what's working inside my businesses and the other dozens and dozens of businesses that I mentor. Why would you go at it all on your own when you can use other people's experience than just replicate what works? Anyhow, right now you can test drive the membership for just $1 plus a few bucks shipping and handling by going to edokeefeshow.com/dormant forces. That's edokeefeshow.com/dormant forces. Hey everybody, it's Ed O'Keefe coming at you with a quick little video on the most important places to focus in your business and as an entrepreneur, as an internet marketer, to ensure that the next 12 months are going to be your best months ever. That's such a cliche. But in a lot of ways, it's to ensure that the where you are now, the areas that are frustrating to you, you do not end up in the same spot that you are today 12 months from now. Now, for me personally, what I've found is that the mistakes I've made in the past is I've had a good year, let's say a good year, bad year, frustrating things. Businesses I started didn't work out. Businesses I started did work out. However it works, one of the things that I think is a big trap is that there's this illusion in like a disillusionment in human thinking, especially us entrepreneurs who are more optimistic, right, than most people, who tend to think that the next year is going to be better than this year, right? Without really thinking through why that might be. So we have this thing called like false hope, based on, well, hey, you know, the goal setting book said I'm supposed to take my goals, make them bigger than they were. But what I found is that there's reasons why guys and gals consistently end up in the same place they were a year ago, or with things not working out. And some of it is just they have a misidentification with understanding what's really causing the effects that they're after, and then where to focus, okay? So Let me share a little analogy with you. Like, there's another video I've posted. It's the first time I ever spoke about it at Vinny Fisher's Strategy and Execution Summit, where I talked about this concept called left of bang, right of bang. And the big thing on that is this came from a friend of mine who is a former Marine who explained this to me, that what they do is they actually show soldiers how to profile locations where there'd be this most likely to have IEDs or most likely to have insurgency issues. And so they created this thing called, here's the bang, right? And this is when say an IED would go off and maim people, kill people, primarily our soldiers. And when this started to happen in Iraq with the insurgency, the government did all the, they put more troops in there, the quick reaction forces were getting better, they put more, they built better vehicles, they put more armor on it, all those things. So, but just bear with me for a second, because all of those things, like a quick reaction force, better vehicles, right? And there's probably a list of other things that happen there. More soldiers. All this does is it asks for the enemy to get smarter. So they got smarter, right? So a friend of mine told a quick story about how when they would shoot off their missiles, or I'm forgetting the word right now, but bear with me. They figured out they could put ice in the canister so that the next day, when the sun came out and it melted, the weapon would go off and fire a missile into towards our soldiers, and then when our quick reaction force would come, there'd be nobody there but just a canister that fires the, and it'll come to me in a second. Better vehicles, well, you can create bigger bombs. More soldiers, well, in a lot of ways that it could just be more opportunity for the insurgency to have, or these IEDs to kill more people, right? And so this was all on what we call the right of bang. Okay, this is right of bang, which is, it's all reactive mode. Okay, we're reacting to the problem. And when I heard this and I studied this, I was like, oh my God, this is the entrepreneurs, internet marketers' life. They live over here. They are going after one tactic after another. Like this week it might be Facebook video ads. Next week it will be a new email sequence. The next week it will be a new YouTube trick. The next thing would be, it just never ever ends. And so what we're trying to do is solve a core, what I would say most businesses lack, a core structured offer that we can break even or be profitable, right? So this is your goal, right? You want a core offer. Like when you start laying this out, what do you want in your business, man? You want consistency and sustainability and a system that can pop this out, right? Which I'll talk about a system in a second, but you want a core offer. You want positive cash flow, right? If you do not have positive cash flow right now, or you're struggling with cash flow, growth is only going to accelerate at the rate at which you're wishing you had more cash. Okay? Sometimes, I'll tell you, when we were direct mailing 800,000 pieces a few years back, I had everybody high-fiving me, like my consultants, my mailers. Everybody was like, Ed, you're doing awesome. But I didn't have positive cash flow. And there's something amazing about how you could be doing $1 million a month in sales, and on the bottom line of your profit and loss, be profitable. But then when you go at your cash flow report, in your negative cash flow, you're like, how in the world am I negative? Like, I feel like a loser. I'm so stressed out because now I got to worry about money every day. And then, you know, there's ways to handle all these things, but I'm just telling you that the secret for most people is to feel better about the holidays, about the next year, the next month, is when you have positive cash flow, because your core structured offer, and I'll shoot another video that explains how I go about doing this, but how the core structured offer creates positive cash flow, and it's something that is consistent and has potential for scale. Okay? The reason I say consistent is that so many of these tactics up here, Facebook video ads at a one target that has, you know, say 300,000 likes or names on Facebook, and then they show the case study video and it was so profitable, yet when you take that Facebook video ad training and you try and apply it to your widget, this stuff doesn't work. Well, why is that? Or it works for 3 days, the next thing you know, you sold, say, 15 things, you have a good ROI, but it's not a business that you can actually, you need to be selling, say, 15 sales a day could be awesome, depends on your business. 30 sales a day, 50 sales a day, depends on your business, but your margins. But if you're, like, say like your profitability on an ad campaign is 4,000%, but like, let's say you're selling t-shirts and it costs you 10 cents or 20 cents for that one sale of a t-shirt, and you sold it for, you know, 20 bucks, and wow, your profit was 10 bucks, right? Everyone's jumping in the streets because you just showed how you can get 4,000 return on ad spend, yet the fact of the matter is that's not consistent, and that's not predictable, and that's not something you can scale. Because what you'll find out very rapidly is that the margins switch very, very rapidly. And you could do, if you want that to be your business, where you're working at low margins on the front end, that's okay. As long as it creates positive cash flow. But you want to know what game you're playing, don't you? You want to know this stuff. So I get really, really clear on my criteria of what I'm going to build for the next 12 months. And the reason I'm sharing this video now is obviously I just created a letter or a report called the 21 most important days of your year. And it goes in depth about how December is really rough for most entrepreneurs because you're fighting with Santa Claus. You came off of the Thanksgiving holiday, you got the next holiday. The question is, so you have to take this time to get cash surges into the door to maximize holiday shopping and to prep your next 12 months so that you can mentally think clear about what you're going to create. And here's, all right, so cool. I have on the left, I have a core offer. I have positive cash flow. I'm selling something that I'm proud of. All right, and then what I'd like to challenge you to do. So like you got this thing here, right? And then you start going lifestyle right here, and you can start with lifestyle first. I don't really care. But here's something I like to do, and the reason this is very, very, very important. So you go study with some guys, and they're going to say, "Hey, you know, what car are you driving? What amazing things are you going to spend with all the millions you're making?" And the thing I don't like about that, because I've done all that stuff, I probably have taught it, right? As I'm a little bit older, we have 7 kids. Is that does not bring you happiness. There might be some of that attaboy, feel good, so you might like some of that, but like what I want to drive through to you is like, where's the meaning at? Where is ultimate frickin' meaning? So you are revved up because every day you wake up. I'd like to challenge you to think more about how do you want to feel on a daily basis rather than what freaking car am I going to drive. Because here's the thing, don't get me wrong, I like my car, I love my car, and I feel good in it, but it doesn't define me, and it shouldn't define you either. So that could be something you throw out there like, oh cool, I'm driving this cool car, yeah, so, but what I'm more important thinking about is like, what are you going to learn what free time do you have and what are you spending it on? And if it is like, well, I want to go, you know, trip out and just get hammered and go just be able to just do whatever I want and totally be obstructive or destructive. I don't know if that, you know, is necessarily I'm the best mentor for you for that. But you have these things, and even with these things, I want you to attach meaning to it. We are in one of the most big dysfunctional things that we have, like in America, is this concept of like I work really hard so I can party harder. That's okay. You know, everyone goes through the phases of it, but it's not. It doesn't bring meaning, right? It doesn't bring meaning. So, what I want you to get really geeked up about is who am I spending time with now, right? And for me, like with my family, it really, my free time is predominantly this world. You know, like I just listened to Jamie Foxx's interview with Tim Ferriss, and he says something brilliant about how, like, as you get older, your percentage of time on yourself dramatically starts becoming less, right? Like, so in your mid-20s, early 20s, you're really selfish. I mean, you really just are. In some ways, you have to be because your job is to, you know, create the cash cow and make sure the money's in the bank and that you're getting by. And as you get a little bit older, you realize like you're fighting for that free time, you know. And so, if you have an exorbitant amount of free time, where's this business vehicle that you can create meaning out of? And instead of thinking about, well, I'm going to work really hard here, make a ton of money so I can create meaning outside of it. I'll tell you, man, if you're not doing something you're passionate about, so I'll throw this in here too. So like this goes to the emotional side. If you're not passionate about it, you're gonna hit what I call like you're never gonna get to the last third of the mile. And this is where all the breakthroughs happen right here. Most guys start using the tactics. Remember I had the tactics up here, like all the Facebook video ads and an email trick and a conversion rate hack. Most of that stuff will get you this far, okay? But this far is where your wisdom and your testing experience and this is where you start putting more cash flow systems in. You start building your team. You start thinking through things. You're wow, and you're going to be making so many mistakes in these phases. But no one teaches you that. No one says, okay, cool. Like you hear the never give up crap, but that's not, it's so different than the daily grind inside an office, right? Or inside your computer or inside your business. Like I love it. I have clients right now who are grinding through their business because they are committed to creating 1 or 2 core offers, right? That will help them create as much money as they need to make to support their lifestyle. Right? Now, some of my clients and guys who come to me are in the consulting business or coaching business. Well, actually, I'll talk about business models here in a second. But the last third of the mile is where things start clicking. Like, to give you a perspective, Marine D3 took me about a year of just grinding through it, daily, looking at my conversion rate stats, daily doing email drops, drumming up joint ventures, working like and learning. But it wasn't about a year and a half in online that the offer took off. And when it took off, I still would say I was emotionally and mentally and developmentally as a business owner and as a marketer and was probably in the second third. And I still feel like I'm right in here. Like I still feel like, hey man, this is stuff to learn. This process may take years, right? So the thing that you want to ask yourself is, well, if I'm going to take years developing things, what am I going to be developing myself to be? So when I pop myself out 3 years, 4 years, 5 years from now, I'm not worried about what I have, like the stuff that I have, but I've built the person who I am, right? Okay, so here's the reason why you want to lay this out, right? So you lay all this stuff out, you create some definitions, and maybe I'll create like a video training on literally a little more in-depth on micro, how I walk through some of this stuff in a micro fashion, okay? But the thing I want you to realize is that the reason why I love this model, right? So is that you can, as one of my criteria, here's one of my criteria, step away from business and your business still pops out cash flow, baby. Pops out cash flow. Or builds your wealth. However you want to frame that, right? This is a great end game for your next 3 months, 12 months, 3 years. The opposite of it is, you know, like a coaching business where you are the person. You cannot pop yourself out of it. There's few exceptions, okay? And the challenge with this is that it's so easy, and I'm not judging, by the way, I'm not judging at all. I don't care. If you're in the coaching business, God bless you. I hope you're a great coach. I hope you've actually built something and you're actually teaching stuff that works. That's my 2 cents on that. But what I love about this model is that I have more free time than probably anybody I know because I have this, okay? And we're even still optimizing it so that it's even better, more profitable, and runs even completely without my involvement. I still have to jump in there and tweak things and give insight and stuff, and that's okay, that's good. I mean, you know, hey, I'll take it. This allows me to work on that O'Keefe show and the products we have coming out. But with this kind of criteria, now I look at my core offer and I say, well, okay, well, the question I like to ask people is like, well, what are you willing to invest in yourself, in the process, to have a business that pays you, let's say it's only $1,000 net profit a day, $30,000 net profit, and you have very little interaction, but it happens every single day of the week, right? So let's just say that pops out to say $365,000 a year, right? The question I want to ask you is, how much money would you have to have invested in order to have is distribution the right word, or whatever it might be? It's you know, to get paid to have that kind of passive income come into your life, right? And so this is so arguable, so I don't want any silly like arguments like, what if you made 20%? You're right, 20%, 15%, 10%, 8%. Let's just say for easy math's sake, you had a 10% return and you took all of it out, and this was after fees. So you had an earning of $365,000 a year from your investments. That means you'd have to have $3,650,000 in order to get this, and this is all pie in the sky, everything worked perfectly, you know, before taxes. So this would be something you'd have to create. Now, what I like to say is that if you focus on a core offer and you do this next step, which I'll share in a second, which is to identify your core limiting skill sets or belief systems or structure. Like, so this is not, what I like doing is looking at like what's the mental model of the person, what's the limiting beliefs and skill sets that we have to fix. Like right now, what is the number 1, 2, or 3 that if we fixed it would happily and easily pop out all my end results on the back end of it, right? And then you just do whatever the heck you have to do that, right? But and then what's the system and process and how am I operating, right? So like if I'm currently the copywriter plus the media buyer plus the person who figures out the products, you're never going to get to stepping away from the business, right? You're going to be in the business. You can't do anything else. And I would say in the internet marketing world, in the expert world, everybody's chasing, I should say everybody, so many are chasing something else while they're trying to make cash here. You can't do that and really get a circle of focus that's going to penetrate past that, like say last third of the mile. If I'm only in the first third of the mile and I'm already dreaming about being somewhere else, I'm always just gonna kind of like frick around right here, You have to be involved with a cash flow vehicle or wealth vehicle that you are going to sustainably push through to the end. And by the way, if you're looking for outside money and stuff like that, they don't want to invest in someone who isn't willing to do that, right? So the vital focus is, what's my core offer based on my belief system that can give me my perfect definition of the business that I want? And then the last part is what is the limiting factor that I have to close up? And then the last part is, who are the people that I have to, like it's not freaking optional, because if you have limiting factors, or limiting knowledge, whatever, you can only take yourself so far that's going to teach me these things. And then what do I need to do to get in their presence or learn from them virtually and to model, to shore those things up? And what you're gonna find, by the way, is that once you start shoring up limiting factors, you may actually find out that that wasn't the big issue, but you're closing loops, man. You're closing loops so you can move to the next one. And the key of like time collapsing, about accomplishing more in less time, it's not a time management thought process. It's a reorchestration of how you think process. Because if you do exactly all this stuff, I mean seriously, if you stop after this video and you go do this, I promise you, you are going to have clarity and results that most 99% of the population do not have. They are going to wait 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks, and they're going to do part of this exercise. Get this in your head. Do it now. Create a plan, and I look forward to seeing you on the other side. Thank you.